on in. It is Friday. We are grateful the weekend is ahead. In fact, we'll even be talking about that at the little bit of back end of things while we're stretching today. Going over equipment that we need today. Today we need a pillow. So if you don't have a pillow, first thing I want you to do right now is just kind of go grab that pillow. If you need to hit the stop button to do so, or those of you who are live with us right now, just kind of go get a pillow, and I'm going to go over the rest of our regular speaking from here, so you won't really miss anything if you've been participating in our classes normally. Beyond that, it is still this kind of new programming that we've been breaking in this week, where we're going to be using this pole, this towel, broom handle, you name it, whatever it is, that kind of puts some variation and allows us to get more deep into the shoulders, especially during the warm-ups, and then one or two movements during the workout as well today. We've got that 2-circuit combo, and then we back-to-back that with the Tabata for the 2010, 3 rounds of the Tabata, and then that wraps up our workouts for this week and next week. Also, foot, if you can open it up, if you can be barefoot, that's going to get you a little bit more activity through the workouts. We want this to be a good opportunity during these workouts to kind of engage in using your feet into the floor and into your movements more than you've ever had a chance to do so before. So go barefoot if you can, and then also if you have any injuries, let's just make sure that you're being very mindful of that, staying away from sharp or bright exercises, or sharp or bright pains during exercise is always a wise thing to do. If you need to, just avoid a movement completely. If you know movements that are good to substitute in for other movements, that's cool too. And then I also always try to give you more manageable options through the workout as well. If you got your own music, this is a great time to put it on. And then last up, just check in with yourself and notice how you are feeling today. If you if some energy or if you don't, it's kind of a hazy day here. It seems like it's been kind of a slow, draggy day. I know Sarah's like a little bit tired from working out this week. So, if she's not going full blast, that's cool. No big deal. Same with you all out there. Sometimes it's just being here and getting our time in that matters the most. So check in with yourself. Notice where you're at ready to work out today and work out accordingly and work out smart. Okay, let's get into our normal warm-ups now. And we're going to start out. I'm going to have a towel. Sarah's going to be standing up with the pole. She's got the back end of the broomstick. I'm going to even walk back just a little bit today, so we'll do some different angles with what we're doing. We're going to go all the way up and over, and then all the way forward. Your feet should be about shoulder width apart, and if you can't go all the way back through the arms, that's no big deal. You can bring it back to just a little above the head, wherever your shoulder gives you the allowance to get, and then just bring it back to the front of the hips. So we do 6 reps of these, and then we switch it over. So our next movement, we're going to come up to the top of this. We're going to do a lean over to one side. You could pull down with that bottom arm. You can come up and reverse it. We'll do 6 total. Get a nice reach at the top, and then that extra little pull down as you get to the side. Last 2. And that final one, a good pull, a nice stretch. Perfect. From here, we get into your windmill motion. So I'm going to choke up my hand grip just a little bit and make this work better for me. It's one hand over and then reversing around. So going windmill status around the head. If you need to make this a little bit smaller, you could just bend the elbows and just kind of barely go around the head. After you've done a few, go ahead and reverse it on over. Give me a 3 on that opposing side as to wherever it feels good for you. And then last up, standing, using this with our upper body, we're going to rotate. So we're going to go back into one side, extending the arm, and the opposite hand is going to go right in towards the chest as you do so. So this has the hips opening and turning, and you'll go onto the toes on that opposite foot to help that rotation open even more. Go 12 total reps of these. Just kind of be loose, be free, feel some opening. Breathe in, breathe out. Let's go last 2, in and out. All right, next up we take that very wide stance, and we're going to take whatever our item is and we're going to put it on the shoulders. Feet should be much, much wider than your shoulders from here. Go ahead and sit back and down, press up through that heel, get tall, and switch it on over. After a couple, if you can get lower, go for it. If you need to stay just a little higher up, that's cool too. Feel the inside leg, get some stretch, and push up through that heel. Good, last up, I'm going to choke up on my grip a little bit. Once again, we're going to get the hands up and overhead, and we're going to go squats from here. Our feet are shoulder width apart. We're going to sit back and down in that squat, and then press up and get tall. As we're doing this, we're finding our heels through the squat, And I want you to look down at your knees and make sure that they're staying on top of those feet. So keeping them stacked on the ankles keeps our good, solid form through that squat. All right, so let's take this and place it to the floor. We're going to now bring ourselves all the way down to the floor. And we're going to get into our side fetal position. So we're going to have our arms extended out, our knees on top of each other. We're going to open the top arms straight behind us and then bring it back, clasping the hands. 6 reps. You're not going very slow. In fact, I'd like there to be maybe just a touch of speed as you open and then reclose. Feel it's the middle of your back that is helping you rotate here. We want to open that thoracic spine, kind of the middle of the back. We got one more. All right, finish it out by switching it up. Get right back into that same position, opposite side, hands clasped, open, and then bring it back. If you want to put some breathing to it, breathe in and open, exhale and close. In and open, exhale and close. All right, we got final one, last one here. All right, back to our familiar warm-up movement of opening our hips by allowing our knees to go side to side. We've got our feet much wider than our shoulders from here. Hands can go behind you if you'd like to start you out to balance, or they can come up. We're going to twist both knees and hips to one side and then reach behind us with both of the hands, bringing it up nice and tall, reversing over. Same thing, opposite side. Remember, this is a hip stretch, so if you can push your hips down into the floor, you get more of that stretch to activate. And if you start noticing that you're coming up, you can just reposition yourself backwards a little bit, get through those final 2 reps. Right, and then last up on the floor here, we're going to get into a kneeling position with our left knee down and our right foot a little bit further out in front of our right knee. We're going to lower in, and as we do, if our right leg is in front, it's your left hand that's going to be behind your head. We're going to lean into this and open your left elbow behind you, and then push back with that right foot, lifting the right toes and reaching the elbow in. Forward and pulling back with the elbow, pressing back, straightening that right leg a little bit until that hamstring is at a moderate discomfort level in the stretch. Excellent. So we're going to breathe in, breathe out, and we've got one more on this side. Breathing in, exhaling back. You got it. Let's switch the knees. Right knee goes down, left foot coming out in front, right hand going lightly behind the head. Let's find that breathe in and come forward. Breathe out, extend back, and do a little crunch in with that right elbow. Good. Find the balance. Start to feel the muscles of the body working to stabilize. Last 2. Final 1. All right, so we'll finish with our little 30-second cardio burst here. This is going to get us into those cross mountain climbers, hands underneath shoulders. As an option, more manageable option for people, you can have the wall position with the hands against it and bringing that knee across for that cross mountain climber. We'll go 30 seconds here, beginning in 3, 2, and 1. Hands are under shoulders, and you're bringing that opposite knee to the opposite elbow. So find a good rhythm, find a good zone. Halfway through, you got 15 seconds remaining here. If you're feeling good, you might crank it up just a little bit in that speed department. Last few in 3, 2, and 1. That is good. Take a breather, everybody. You are officially warm. I know I got little beads of sweat going across the top of my forehead. You?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. She glistens. She doesn't sweat. Well-known fact. All right. So we've got our 2 circuits. Our first circuit is going to have us standing. Our second circuit will be down on the floor. Let's go over circuit number 1 first, which is 3 movements. It's 5 repetitions per movement, and then we do that total for 5 minutes. We're cycling through those as much as you can. This is a good time to have any sort of weight with you. We're going to do a combo for the legs. We're going to do a curtsy on one side, and then we're going to step into a lateral lunge. So this is how it's going to look. We've got our feet together. We've got ability to move side to side on this one because we're going to need it. We're going to start by doing the curtsy, which is going to bring the foot back into the side. We're going to push up through that forward heel, and we step out into a lateral lunge. Okay? When we step back, we go straight back to the curtsy, and then we go straight back to the lateral lunge. So a combo, one curtsy and one lateral lunge, is one total repetition. You got 5 total on one side, then you switch it over and do 5 total on the next side as a part of this circuit. Hopefully that's very clear. Second movement, we're going to get into a little bit of balance. You could keep that single weight, or if you got something even a little heavier, which I do, use that. This is a good time for that. It's going to be single leg balance. So if my right hand is holding the weight, my left foot and my left arm are away from the body, lifted. From here, we're going to do a bicep curl, we're going to do a shoulder press, and we're going to smoothly bring it back down. 5 reps on one side, and you'll notice both the arm and leg are extended on the opposite side. I want you to practice that. If you need to, you can have the toes just gently touching the floor and give you a little balance assistant as that more manageable option. And then your third and final movement is where those pillows come in. This is our pillow slam from here. Per usual, we've done it a few times before. We're going to go up and over the head. We're going to throw it down on the floor and then reverse it over. It'll be 10 total repetitions of those throws. A more manageable option will have you bring that pillow just kind of the side of the leg, but still working on some twisting and some lifting of that pillow up and overhead. So let's get to it. I'm going to put our 10 seconds onto the clock. We're going to start with that combination movement of a curtsy and a lateral lunge. And if you have some weight, now is a great time to hold that weight. Get into position where you can move side to side, and we get started in 3, 2, and 1. Step to the curtsy, and now out. Perfect. So Sarah's got that good balance right off the bat where she's going smoothly into things. Full curtsy brings that leg behind, and then that leg steps into the lunge. She's got one more here.
Oh, you're counting.
And then she switches. Counting is not necessarily my strong suit, but I'm working on it. So keeping it smooth early on. Practice the movement, make sure that you understand what's going on with it, right? With that good curtsy, the foot kind of slides behind you, and you put the weight in the forward leg. With that lateral lunge, the weight shifts to the outside, and that's the heel that we're going to push back up through. Once those are done, then we're going to balance. So keeping a weight in one hand, you're going to balance on the same leg, and then the opposite arm and leg lift. You get the bicep curl, you get the shoulder press, and you bring it down piece by piece. You give me 5 reps on one side before you switch it on over to the next. There we go. So Sarah's doing a great job, per always. She's locked in right here, and the control is what's apparent to me when I look at how she's moving. She's pretty locked in, and that means that's recruitment of the muscles. Exactly what we're aiming to do with balanced movements. Last up, you finish with those pillow slams. So if you're jumping ahead, you've got 10 total pillow slams. Make sure to lift that up and over. Do some twisting as you come down, and then push up through the heel. Even at the down point of that pillow slam, that pillow's on the ground, I rotate it down. This heel is gonna push me up, and then I'm gonna rotate and push up through that next heel. Each side to side, 10 total reps. You got 2 minutes in, you got 3 minutes remaining on circuit number 1 here, folks. Now, as you throw that down, think about breathing out. Get some power into that. It's a good opportunity to get energy out. Sarah's going right back into the curtsy and the lateral lunge. She does the curtsy first, then she steps out wide to that lateral lunge. You need a more manageable option on this. Make it smaller, okay? Just step back a little bit here, and then just kind of sit into that just a little bit to the side. You can minimize your depth, and you can use that as your more manageable option. Keeping your abs tight on this, and when you get into kind of that tilted forward position, your core really needs to kick in to keep your low back safe here. So think about how your core is instrumental, especially when there's weight up front. Your core is what's keeping the top of your body from falling forward. Engage it, use it, and get more out of what we're doing. All right, so balance next. Opposite hand and leg are both lifted. Then that's that curl plus the press. When that weight goes up, I want you to bring it back just a tiny bit too. So I always talk about that. Not just straight up, but the tiniest bit backwards turns on the back shoulder blades. That's what we want to activate. Some rear delts into here. Got a minute 30 remaining in circuit number 1 right here. Fine tune what you're doing. Let's see if we can get through a full another set. When you get to the pillow slams, it's more of an intensity type of thing. This is where I want some power to come out of what you're doing. When you throw that pillow down, give me some power, breathe out, put energy into that throw. Within the final minute. Now you know when we finish up this minute, we've still got 30 seconds at the back end of those cross mountain climbers. Save a little bit in the tank and get ready. Lateral lunge. Awesome, awesome. She's gonna make it through these 10. I feel it. She got 30 seconds right here. We got 30 seconds. Remember, if you can, I want you to finish out your 5 reps. If your 5 reps isn't gonna fit within that 20 seconds after, just shorten it up. Maybe you do 1 or 2 more reps right when we get to the end of the bell time here. All right, so we got 10 seconds from here. We got 10 seconds. Once this 10 seconds is up, we'll start to get into position for the mountain climber. In 3, in 2, in 1. Finish out another rep or 2 or whatever you need to rep it out. Then if you need that manageable option for that mountain climber, step it back with the hands on the wall. Otherwise, come down to the floor with me. Cross knee to cross elbow. In 3, 2, 1. Make it happen. Find a little rhythm to what you're doing and keep those shoulders on top of those hands. All right, halfway point. Once again, if you can add just a little bit to it, go for it. Get more out of what you're doing. Finished up in 3, 2, and 1. That is good, folks. Circuit number 1. Give yourself a little pat on the back. High five somebody in the house. You get that first one underneath your belt. Get yourself a sip of water. We will go over circuit number 2, which will be down on the floor. But if you haven't picked it up already, once we're done with the 5 minutes on circuit number 2 on the floor, then we stand up and our 30 seconds at the back end of cardio becomes skaters. So just that reminder there. Let's go over what we're doing here on the floor. We're gonna start out by doing walkout planks. So a movement that we had done a couple weeks back. It's where we get to a regular plank position. We're gonna step the hands out a little further, hold it for a second or so, and then bring the hands back under the shoulders. So 5 total of extending those arms out, holding for a good second, and then coming back down. More manageable options, stay on the knees and do this same thing. You can walk those hands out and then bring them right back in as a more manageable approach to things. Second movement, it's using a pole. Now, if you don't have a pole, if you're using a towel, just don't even worry about using any props. You can do this one body weight too. But if you got the pole, this is where we're gonna get you. It's a hollow hold position. You got the hands up. You're gonna lift both the legs up. You're gonna flex the toes so they're pointed towards you. And then from here, like we did yesterday, but reversing it, we're gonna take one hand off of the pole and we're gonna reach down by the hip and then we're gonna bring it back up to the pole. So we're gonna get into one side, reach down by the hip and up. And it is 5 total reaches on one side and then 5 total reaches on the next. If you need a more manageable option on that, think about you can put one foot to the floor and you can still work on getting a lot of that core activity while not necessarily pushing the boundaries quite so much. So that's exercise number 2. Exercise number 3 is our Russian twist. So this has us in that seated position. Feet can be on the floor, or for added challenge, feet can be lifted. As we're doing this, keep the chest tall. Think about kind of gentle through the neck. Try not to get too tense through the neck. So those feet can be on the floor, and you could even be a little taller in your sit position if you need to make things a little bit more moderate for you. Like I said, once we're done with the 5 minutes of those, then we'll cap it off with some skaters for 30 seconds. I hope that is clear. We're gonna go ahead and get in position to get you started. So you're gonna start facing the floor. You're gonna be doing your walk-out planks, and it is 5 reps total before you'll end up switching. So we got 10 seconds before we get going. You get yourself into good spots, and we'll get going in 3, 2, 1. Both hands walk out. 1 second hold. Bring it back in. Make sure you get at least a nice little hold for a full second before you step it back in with each of those. And if you need to be on the knees, that more manageable option, just straight down to the knees, and we can do that same thing. The out, the hold, and the back. Once those 5 are done, she's gonna go onto her back. She's gonna have the pole kind of just overhead, but up in the air, and feet in kind of that same position, up into the air. We're gonna flex the toes as she's doing that. Perfect, perfect. And then she's got kind of that nice wide arm reaching down and sliding back up. So it's giving her shoulder mobility. It's working on opening and using that lat. She'll take a small breather, and then the opposite side, same thing. 5 of those arms just sliding down and raising back up. Now, if you needed the option, she could bend a knee and put a foot to the floor, and you just keep a single leg up, but still work on getting all that core activity. If you push your low back down, you get more out of what you do. Once that's done, it's Russian twists from there. Grab yourself a weight of any sort, or even body weight. You can just bring your hands together and work on that rotation from there. And trying to keep the feet lifted as that more challenging option. Your more manageable option, keep those feet grounded. All right, get to that 10 total reps, and then it's repeat time where you turn towards the floor. You do those 5 walkout planks. 1 second of holding with each of these walkout planks. Nice. Sarah's doing a big extension right here. This is awesome. This is where you start getting a lot out of what you're doing. If you feel like you're capable, if your shoulder feels good, if your low back feels good, extend out that extra inch, that extra 2 inches, and feel how much harder your body has to work in order to compensate for that. Once she's done with that, she's flipping back onto her back. She goes hollow hold position with those arms reaching down and back up. 5 reps on each for this one. So a good thing to bring up with a hollow hold is that low back pressure that we talk about often. Somebody told me recently their term was imprint. So imprint the low back down into the floor, push it down. And it's a muscle group that really gets underused in day-to-day activities and tends to be overly weak due to a lot of various stresses placed on it day in, day out. So use those muscles, find them, feel them. Push those low back muscles down and get more out of what we're doing with the movement. We got 2 minutes remaining.
All right. Hardest move we've done.
Russian twist. Oh yeah?
Yeah.
She'll tell you like it is. I'll tell you tomorrow. All right, Russian twist, and she's smooth. This is where she rocks. She rocks them up, Russian twist right here. But that hollow hold's getting her. I'm gonna tell her if she's burning out at the back end just to drop that foot to the floor on one side to give her the more manageable approach. Whatever you're feeling, whatever you need, pay attention. All right, the extension, the hold, the smooth, bringing it back in. Remember, this could be done from the knees. For those of you who are sitting on the couches during this, while your partner is working out hard, I want you and I to just have a little dance party right now. Just kind of swing those arms, smile, enjoy the sweat and the hard work that those around you are putting in.
Try this. It's hard.
I'll get to it. We got less than a minute, folks. We got less than a minute. So let's just remember, I want you to try to work through that entire minute. And then once we're done with this minute, we're going to be standing for those skaters. Woo! Yeah, that is a nice, fun, little saucy burn, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. How much time do we have left? We got 20 seconds remaining, folks. Try to finish up those reps before you join us up top with those skaters. Nicely done. Give me a few Russian twists to finish out there, dog. Got about 10 seconds remaining. Last little bit. Focus and finish. Don't stop moving yet. Not until that bell rings. In 3, 2, 1. Ding. That bell has rung. You got 20 seconds, and then we go to the skaters. With skaters, we want to make sure we got room to move side to side. Just remember that skater is the step or the light hop with that foot coming behind you. We get going in 3, 2, 1. Over to one side. And if you want to start adding an opposite hand reaching across the body, practice that. Add to it. Challenge yourself more. Halfway. Maybe you can jump a little bit higher. Find your hip on the outside. Find your butt on the outside. 3, 2, and 1. That is good, folks. That is good. Making it through that first half. Once again, little high fives around the spots. Give them out. Maybe you give yourself that little pat on the back. Nicely done. Turn down the music for a minute. We'll start to go over your Tabata set coming up from here. Let's remember the rules of Tabata. They're going to be 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. 8 exercises. Now we've actually only got 5 different exercises, but 3 of those are done on one side and then done on the other to get us to that 8 total. So, let's go over what we got to do. First is going to be a plank position. This is a new movement, and it's going to be a single arm plank. So we'll have some alternatives for you if you need them. So your first movement is a plank position, and we're going to get high up into a downward dog with your opposite hand reaching to an opposite foot. Then as you come forward, bringing that arm up. Okay, so going here and then up with that arm. When we're up with the arm, you're thinking about this hip. I don't want it high up here. I want it to stay parallel. Now, option on this one. You can come from the knees, come forward, and then just reach back to one corner and extend the arm out. Bring it back and then reach it forward through there. It's the same mentality though. I don't want that side that's lifting and rotating to start opening a lot. We try to keep the hips parallel throughout that, and that's where you get way more of the core activity. So we go 20 seconds on one side only, you rest for 10 seconds, and then 20 seconds on the opposite side from there. After that, we're coming down to the floor with the knees, hands and knees position, and we're gonna work on doing a donkey kick. So we're gonna keep the knee bent, and we're gonna push the heel up towards the ceiling, and then smoothly come back down. So pressing up, what we're trying to activate most importantly is the glute. So I want you to find and feel how your butt is giving you that push through there. You get through that 20 on one side, then you switch over 20 onto the opposite. More manageable option onto here would be to extend that leg straight back as opposed to pushing up towards the ceiling. Once that's done, you flip around, you go onto your back as L-shaped position. So we're gonna have the legs straight up above the hips. You're gonna have your feet just a little bit apart, a little wider than those shoulders, and one pinky is gonna reach towards the opposite pinky toe. You'll bring the body down and rotate on over. So pinky to pinky toe, and trying to keep your low back pressure into the floor. More manageable options is just gonna have those knees a little lower, and then you just kind of reach beyond the knee as you go side to side through that. It's a more manageable option. Then we go hip bridge press, and we're gonna add a little movement into your hip bridge today. So I'm going to give you this angle so that you all can see it well from there. We're going to get into our normal hip bridge. We're going to hold it. Then we go up onto the toes. So staying on the toes in your hip bridge press, your knees go out wide and then come in and tap. Okay, so out wide, in and tap. The whole time your butt stays off the floor and the whole time you stay on your toes. You need a more manageable option onto that. You can come down with each of those. You could go up, out, and then if you needed to, you could also keep a flat foot as opposed to go onto the toe if that bothers your ankle or any part of the leg in general a little bit more. Okay, then we finish up doing a side plank, and our side plank is going to be doing a hip drop with it. So good side plank position. I'm going to monitor that elbow, make sure it stays underneath my shoulders. I'm going to stack my feet because I like to get that extra challenge. And of course I'm going to keep those hips up. I'm going to sink the hips all the way down to the floor. The body kind of folds down. I'm going to lift up and I'm going to lift my top leg at the top of it, stack it back down all the way to the floor, lift it back up. Okay? You need a more manageable option. That knee underneath you stays bent and we can do the same thing. We can get you here. We can hopefully even lift that top leg and we can kind of find what we need to make it through that side plank. So those are your movements. I'll do my best to call it out for you. Remember, we're going to do this circuit 3 separate times. So our first time is a little bit more the learn approach. Our second and third time are going to be more of that let's go approach. Okay? Sound good? I'm going to take that as a yes. We're going to get you up and ready to roll. So you're going to start in a plank position. And this is going to have you reaching back, opposite hand towards opposite foot, and then extending that arm out in front as you come back forward. So we get going. First 20 seconds in 3, 2, 1. Opposite hand reaches back and now goes forward. One side only for 20 seconds. If you need a more manageable approach, you're staying on the knees. You're just going to reach underneath you and extend out, and we're going to keep that straight line with the body. In 3, 2, 1, rest for 10. And 3, 2, 1, switch those sides. So same thing. Early on, if those feet can be wider, you're going to give yourself a more stable base. So be smart in your approach to this to help you stabilize. Manu, we got a little pit bull out here for you. I don't know if you're paying attention to these videos. I know you got your new child. We're very happy for you. In 2, in 1, down and rest. Donkey kicks next. So hands under shoulders. You're going to just keep that knee bent and press the heel up or extend the leg back. In 2, 1, go. Excellent. Push up, breathe out. Just put that breath into what we're doing now. And think about that hip complex. I don't want that hip lifting up real high. Try to keep them squared. In 3, 2, 1, switch it over. You may or may not notice this. Sarah took a 10-pound weight. She put it right in between the knee. 3, 2, 1. She gets that booty workout. She knows how to make it happen. If you got a little something that you'd like to stick between the back of the knee there, play around with that. Have some fun with it. See if you can amp up what you're doing in your workout. Good. Think about stability through the core. Tight core. 3, 2, and 1. Next up, we go onto the back, L-shaped position, legs straight up above the hips, and opposite pinky reaching towards opposite pinky toe. In 2, 1, go. There we go. As you lift up, breathe out. Lift up, breathe out. Find that nice extension, but low back press. Keep low back press throughout this. In 3, 2, 1. Next up is the hip bridge press. You stay onto the back. The feet stay flat onto the floor. You're going to go onto the toes and push the knees out. In 2, in 1. Hip bridge up, onto the toes, and knees out and together. Go a little slow. I don't need you speeding through this. I want it to be smooth going out, smooth coming in with the knees here. Good. In 3, 2, 1. Last up, side planks. We've got both sides to go here. Remember, it's hip drop down and leg lift up or bottom knee. 2, 1. Let's go. Sink it down, lift on up. As you push up, breathe out. Push up, breathe out. Find that. Last few. In 3, 2, 1. Turn it, switch it. One more, then we give you a minute off here. 3, 2, 1. Sink it, lift it. Good. Remember, bottom knee can be down for that more manageable approach. There we go. Last few. Finish up in 3, 2, and 1. 1 of 3 Tabatas. There we go. Hopefully you know what we're doing now. Get a little bit of that learning process. Get a little bit of sweat. Get some water if you need it. I'm going to take a quick sip of my Wake Up and Be Awesome.
Is that coffee from this morning?
It's not coffee from this morning, which is a part of my normal daily routine out there. Yeah. All right. So let's hit into number 2. Remember, we're going to start on the floor in that plank position. And remember, as you get into that extension of the plank, not to let that hip lift too high. Your plank position is best going to start with a wider base. If your feet are wider, this is going to be better for you. We got less than 10 seconds. Let's get set up. Feet in that wide stance. Opposite hand reaches back to the toes in 2. In 1, reach it back, and then reach it forward. Good. Think about how your back and shoulder on that extension arm are holding into place and getting stronger. There we go. More manageable option keeps you on the knees. In 3, in 2, in 1, rest for 10. Okay, keep that wide stance with the feet. Next up, beginning in 3, 2, 1. Reach it back, reach it forward. Mindful of what the hips are doing and mindful of feeling the shoulder in the arm lift. Looking good, looking good. Keep that form, folks. Finished up in 3, 2, 1. Next up, we go down to the hands and knees. We keep that knee bent and we push it straight up. I want you to find your butt pushing that up. In 2, in 1, up and smooth coming down. Good. Push up, breathe out. Push up, breathe out. Keep working on that breath and putting it with the movement. There we go. Find the butt. Especially at that top point. That should be booty time. In 3, 2, 1. Let's switch it over. Opposite side. Sarah's got that weight back there. If you found something, do it. Have fun with it. In 2, in 1. Control that press and find your glute in the press. And that upper body here is staying still, right? It's supporting you. Push through the palms, tighten the belly, get more out of it. In 3, 2, 1. From here, we go onto the back, L-shaped position, opposite pinkies to opposite pinky toes. Beginning in 3, 2, 1. Reach on up, and if you can get even that little bit of extra height in that reach, it's going to make a difference in what you're feeling, I promise, folks. Ended in 3, 2, and 1. Feet to the floor. Hip bridge press with the knees going out and in. Knees going out and in. This is on the toes. In 3, 2, 1. Hip bridge on the toes. Knees extend out. Knees come in and press, tap together. Good. She's got it under control. She's smooth in that. Not moving rapidly. Moving with the control. In 3, 2, 1. Side planks is our final movement. 2 side planks to go. We get the hip dropping, and then we get the leg lifting at the top. In 3, 2, 1. Drop in, lift up. As you lift up, breathe out. Lift up, breathe out. working out, get my rotation going on over here. 3, 2, and 1. Flip those sides. One more, then a break. Give me the best side planks you can here. Lift those hips up high when you come up. In 3, 2, 1. Let's go. There we go. Finding consistency, finding breathing, finding those obliques underneath. Finished up. In 3, 2, 1. Break time, everybody. Break time. Dame cinco. Woo! 1 remaining. 1 remaining. Get you that opportunity to hydrate. Let that heart rate just kind of dial down a little bit. Shake it out. You can dance with me if you're ready now at this point. So you only got 1 remaining. And then it's the freaking weekend. We hope that the feeling of the weekend coming is a special feeling for you. We're going to talk about that very, very soon. All right, folks, we got 1 remaining with our Tabata here. 1 remaining. You know what I'm going to ask? I'm going to ask for you to give me the most that you can. This is the end. We'll start in 10. Remember with this, opposite hand reaching back and lift up the hips so we get some stretch in the back of that leg. In 2, in 1, and then that nice extension going forward. Good, so this really has a lot of downward dog principle to it. When she's here, the hips lift up, and that's going to give her some stretch in the back of that leg. Some hamstring stretch, some calf stretch, even some mobility through that ankle. In 3, 2, and 1. It's rest for 10. Let's keep the feet wide to provide you the stability you need through the lift. In 3, 2, 1. Out and reach. Good. Super mindful of what those hips are doing when she comes forward. The more she can keep that hip turned towards the floor, the harder she is working. There we go. Last few. Finished up in 3, 2, 1. It's hands and knees next. Hands and knees next. Booty push. You're going to keep the knee bent. You're going to drive that heel up or push the leg back. In 2, 1. Go. There we go. All right, so keeping the core tight and thinking about stability through what the arms and the shoulders are giving you as well here. Finish in 3, 2, 1, switch it over. In 3, 2, 1, create that push and smooth coming down. There we go, tight abs. Everything's locked into position. When you're locked in, you're using more, you're feeling more, you're getting more. Finish up in 3, 2, 1. That's good. We go to the back next. Legs up, L-shaped position. Opposite pinky to opposite pinky toe. Feet a little bit wide. In 2, in 1. Let's go. And let's give me low back into this too. Is your low back pushing down while we're reaching up? Here we go, working for it, reaching for those final few. In 3, 2, 1. It's hip press with knees in and out. We're going to do this on the toes. Sarah's added some weight into there. In 3, 2, 1. She's up with those hips. Now it's smooth. Going out, bringing them in. Smooth out, smooth in. There we go. Form is under control. Breathing is steady. In 3, 2, 1. That's good. It's side planks to finish. Hip drops and leg lifts. Get into position. Elbow under shoulder. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Lift up that top leg if you got it in you. If you need to be on that bottom knee, you're on that bottom knee. The higher those hips lift, the more you're working. Get that challenge into it. Finish up strong here. In 3, 2, 1. Flip it. Switch it. Last 20 right here. Last 20. Let's make it a good finish. Finished in 3, 2, 1. Last round. Last 10 seconds. Keep those hips raising high. Kick that leg up and breathe out. Finish up in 3, 2, and 1. You done it. You did it. You made it through another week. Nicely done, everybody. Woo! All right. I'm going to give out a few of those virtual high fives. Oh, and I wanted to give a big shout out. I was wearing this shirt, and I totally forgot to mention this in the beginning. This says Coach on it, and it says Coach because we have the opportunity to coach the special teams crew out in Santa Cruz for bowling each and every fall. And so we just wanted to give a big shout out to them because we know that they've been watching the videos and participating.
DJ Jeff and Mad Dog.
DJ Jeff and Mad Dog. We saw you guys out biking the other day, getting that exercise in. We love it. And we love working with the Special Olympics crew for bowling seasons. So we'll be looking forward to that, but wanted to give you guys all a big shout out. All right, so let's get into a little bit of our stretching routine. I'm gonna have you start out on your back, and we're gonna go back to a little bit more of our normal stretching routine, where we got the arms up and overhead. And we're gonna focus on that belly breathing from here. So we'll get the big inhale and try to lift the belly so the breath goes lower into the body. And find that long exhale coming out. Belly breath. Long exhale where the diaphragm contracts, pushes more air out. Get into our hip stretch, our figure 4. So I'm going to have you bring your right knee up and in towards your armpit on your right side. And then you're going to release and you're going to place that foot onto the left knee. So right ankle on left knee. Your left hand, if not both your hands, go behind your left hamstring. And if you do have your right hand free, you can use this to push the right knee a little bit away from you. Now, Sarah made a really good point to me earlier today in discussing before our workout how we coach you. She's actually very, very intuitive with it. So just making sure that the toes on this foot are flexed. So the foot that is bent, the knee that is bent, flex those toes, flex the foot, and that's going to keep your knee a little safer through what's going on. Let's find a nice big inhale through the belly. Nice long exhale out. We're going to drop the left leg down. And then now your left hand is going to pull the knee over to the left side. We'll get into that kind of large rotation, nice stretch across the body. If you run into somebody or something, that's cool. You can just pat them, tell them that you love them. Chances are you live with them. I think that's appropriate for most of us. Let's kick back into the breath. As you breathe in deeper, you should feel your ribs expand. As you breathe out full, really feel the contraction through the core. Do one more big inhale in. Nice long exhale, good contraction going out. We'll start to lift the right knee back up. We'll place it down straight to the floor. We're going to bring the left knee in towards the armpit on the left side. A little hug into the body. And now we're going to release it and put that foot onto the opposite knee. Your right hand will go right behind that right leg. Your left hand might be best used to kind of just lightly push the left knee away from you. Your left toes, try to flex them. Flexed foot or toes pointing up towards the ceiling. It's going to keep your knee nice and safe on the left here. Once again, belly breath in. Long exhale out. One more time. As you breathe out, start to now bring that left leg over to the right side using your right hand and reach out to the left. Head turns to the left. And you're just kind of gently pulling your right knee towards the floor. Your left shoulder, the back of my left shoulder, I want to stay in touch with the floor. And then wherever that knee can go on the right side, Just kind of allow that to be, but keeping the shoulder grounded on the left. One more big inhale in. Long exhale out. Bring that knee up. We'll bring this foot down and we'll get ourselves into our butterfly stretch next. So the bottoms of the feet come together. All right, Sarah does that nice job of kind of placing a hand on the belly while she's on the floor, continuing to remind her about that belly breath here. As we gently allow the knees to fall to the floor, hopefully you're finding some nice inner thigh stretching going on from here. So what we wanted to talk to you about today was enjoying your weekend now that it's Friday afternoon, and how we often remark that the days these days seem to blur together, and how, you know, the weekend represents 2 days that are a little bit more special, and reminding ourselves that we work for these special times. Let's go ahead and come on up, and I'm going to go kneeling stance next. So I'm going to have your left knee down. I'm going to have you bring your right foot in front. We're going to bring that left hand up. We're going to push the hips forward. We're going to squeeze your butt on that left side, and just hold and breathe. So treating yourself a little bit into this well-earned weekend time that we work so hard for. Maybe that means you get to sleep in a little bit into the mornings. Maybe just stay in bed a little longer into the mornings. Maybe you know, cook something at home that is a treat of a dinner for us. Maybe that's like purchasing a steak, some nicer cut of meat for us. Let's go ahead and lower down. We'll switch the knees. Right knee down, left foot in front. Right hand lifts, and you squeeze your butt on that right side and start to open that hip flexor and those quads from there. Kicking back into the breathing. Thinking about treating yourself to various activities, right? And I know we're held to maybe not as many activity options as we would prefer at this moment in time, but you know, for those of us with kids, spending time with the kids and doing activities and finding how those times are significant and special. Let's go big inhale in, long exhale out. We'll bring the hand down. I'll have everybody go ahead and stand up through here. And we'll do a little bit of the overhead stretching that we like to do. So your right hand's going to lift up, your left hand's going to grab that right wrist. We're going to pull over to the side. We're going to do some deep breathing to open that rib cage a little bit more while we're at this side stretch position. So doing activities maybe with your kids, maybe some activities that really bring you joy or give you an opportunity to break from day in and day out life. So for me, that's often riding a bike or doing some gardening around the house. Breathe in and come up tall, everybody. Breathe out and switch the sides and hold. You know, and that might be reading a book, that might be doing a yoga class, might be just going for a simple walk, but allowing yourself to find things that make your weekend special so that you can have kind of that light at the end of the tunnel always with each and every one of our weeks. Let's go big inhale in, come to the top, big exhale out, hands are going to come down. We're going to just wrap our hands together behind us. We're going to push the hands down. We're going to do a couple neck rolls to one side, 3 neck rolls, one direction. You can get kind of that full neck roll range of motion, go for it. And then reversing it, and 3 in the opposite direction. All the while, you're keeping kind of the shoulders pinned back behind you. Come back to center with the head. Give me a nice big inhale in. As you exhale, a long exhale out. You can release the hands, you can shake it out. Everybody, thank you for joining us per always. We love having you. We hope that this is quality material for you, whether it's for entertainment or workout purposes alike. We'll see you soon. We're going to release another yoga video this weekend, so look forward to that coming out. Use that as an opportunity to kind of stretch and change the dynamic from what we do in these classes, and we will see you all very soon. All right. Bye-bye.